Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Batman Retrospective. I'm Travis Snail.
I'm Taylor Field.
Yes, and we're doing the most anticipated one, The Dark Knight. No, we're doing Batman and Robin. We're not. We're going to the bottom of the barrel. This is one I've not dreaded, but I've been like, oh, I don't know how it's gonna go, but I've been excited for it at the same time. So, when was the last time you say you'd seen it? Like obviously not when you just watched it.
Yeah. Before that, I can say like I own it on DVD, but I don't remember the last time I thought, I'm gonna put this in my DVD player and watch it.
Yeah.
So probably when it was on TV last, which could be like months ago.
Yeah. It hasn't been that long for me because I usually watch them all over again. Unfortunately, especially this one's a big unfortunate. And also originally Liam didn't want to be here. He's still pretty sick. So I have his notes, so I've incorporated those into mine, but he thinks it's an awful movie. That's pretty much just the dredge of it. He didn't really have much positive things to say. I don't know if we will, but we're not gonna. Spoiler alert. I guess I have some good stuff. Oh, and that's the main reason too. I was gonna say that's why I had you on the cast, because you always get this rep of being the most positive person on the cast, and anything we bring up, you can spin it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is good, and blah blah blah.
Push the boundaries.
So, I'm looking at my good list. I guess I'll do some good stuff and some notes I had. I liked at the very beginning with all the weapons select. I like that. It's very cool. Minus all like the junk shots and the ass shots.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away the actual him picking out the weapons and whatnot, and Robin picking out the weapons. That's pretty good. So I like that. But then you have all the shots of just their armor, and it's kind of weird. I like that. It's kind of weird in the older movies. They have Easter eggs. Like at that point, he says the line about Superman.
Yeah,
and
this is why Superman works alone.
Yeah, and then later on in the movie, you see like Riddler's costume in the jail cell, and you see Two-Face's. So I like that even in the shitty movie, they had some Easter eggs. So that was a positive thing. Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy is actually not too bad. I think she's one of the best parts of this film. She's pretty cheesy at times. I think she starts off really good. I feel like right after... Yeah, I shouldn't say pretty good. She's good, but right after like the monkey scene when she's dancing, she gets really cartoonish and over the top. But up until that point, I thought she was kind of good. She seemed like she was kind of strong, and then she was kind of seductive. But then at this point, she just kind of for some reason falls in love with Freeze, which they don't like. They don't really. Why do you have such a disgust?
I don't know. She was just so weird. I mean. When I don't know like the Batman comics especially well, but I mean I've seen Poison Ivy in like the Batman video games.
Yeah.
I mean that's how I kind of picture Poison Ivy. She doesn't do anything. I mean, She just combines chemicals to make special plants, and she just blows her little fairy dust to make everyone fall in love.
One part that Liam pointed out he had on his bad list is at the point when Batgirl and her are fighting, and she takes out like a switchblade. It's like Poison Ivy should not need a switchblade. She can control all these plants, everything like that. And same thing. It's all negative, but. It makes no sense that her plant attacks her, like, when she says, like, curses, and then, like, the thing goes down her. Like, this is going to be a common thing, and I guess we haven't really said at the beginning, this is a bad movie. Like I usually state that at the end, but that's why overall I think most of the stuff is, like, complaining or laughing about, because it's a really bad movie. It's really cheesy, and it's not one of those films where it's like, oh, yeah, I got a bad rep. Like, anytime you watch it, it's really bad. Like, I have it in my bad notes. The dialogue is terrible. It's not well acted because a lot of people, I feel like they felt like they knew this was going to be bad. O'Donnell and George Clooney kind of said they kind of had a feeling. And George Clooney, it's in my fun facts, but he actually, He actually refunds people that when he goes up to them and if they said they saw Batman and Robin, he'll refund them their ticket price.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So... It's a notorious bad movie. It killed the franchise. Now, where I would say it has its place is it got us to Batman Begins, because without this, there'd be no break, there'd be no Batman Begins, there'd be no Dark Knight, there's going to be no Batman vs. Superman, which we're leading to. But this is overall a really bad movie. But a few other good things. I had Chris O'Donnell. I still feel like he's a good Robin. Mm-hmm. It's like... It doesn't make much sense. I'll get into my bad stuff later, some of his story arc. But, like, he feels like he's still trying, and I've always liked him as Robin. I think despite him being, like, a lot older than Robin should be. because he's supposed to be an orphan and he's like 25 or something. But I feel like he's pretty good. I like that Ivy had a disguise when she wasn't Ivy. Her hair was different color and she had glasses and kind of looked like doing Clark Kentish. Literally, I have things left on my good list. Some of the goons, ice hockey goons, had skull cod pieces, which made no sense. They just had a big skull there, but I kind of just found that just super funny, so I put in my good notes. I like that Arkham Asylum's actually kind of creepy, and it's kind of sinister, so I like that. It's kind of a cheesy two towers. Like, if you look at the outside, that's what Liam described it as, like, two towers, pretty much. Like, it's just really bad, like, models and CGI. But the inside, there's cobwebs, and it's dark, and it's like a place you wouldn't want to be. So that, to me, is Arkham. The neon goons. Oh, no, literally, that's it. The neon goons are kind of cool, but they don't fit in this movie at all. Yeah. They're just kind of cool, and then Bane just beats them up. So, what are some things you have?
Well, for a good thing,
you have more notes for this than you did for Batman Returns.
I did like how it really showed, like, I guess you call it trust issues between Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, you kind of expect that when you have, like, a main hero and then he's got this new, like, trainee. Yeah. That's how Batman saw him. He saw him as, like, a trainee and apprentice, but Robin saw himself as the partner, and that's what he wanted. So you had the conflict.
I like that. It's just... But and like I have it in my bad stuff, I'll just work it in at the end. If it like we'll go down your list and then I'll work in my bad stuff. It's good, but you never get they touch on what they're fighting about, but they never get too clear. Because and to me, Robin has every reason to be mad because Batman's really dumb in this movie. Like he's really dumb. Like, and I hate that one point when Poison Ivy and Bane in the middle of the film at like fucking Mr. Freeze's like hideout, which once again. Most obvious hideout. Like, if you're looking for Mr. Freeze, it's Mr. Frosty Stone or whatever. But, like, in the middle of Poison Ivy and Bane are getting away. First, in that middle scene, when they get away, they easily get away. They just go up a ladder, and they give up Batman and Robin. But in the middle, Batman is fighting Robin. Like, Robin's pushing him, and Batman literally beats him up and throws him in the ice cream. And it's like, you're letting bad guys get away. And I hate Jim Gordon. He walks up, and he's like... You let them get away. It's like, well, what were you doing?
Yeah,
like,
that's a huge thing I wrote. The police are literally pylons in this movie.
They mean nothing. Like, in every Batman movie, these older ones, they mean less and less. And this is like the height of being useless. Like, they don't do anything at all. And it's frustrating because it's frustrating when he walks over to Batman like, what did you do? Like, he
blames him.
Yeah.
You can't
this guy's helping you out.
Yeah.
He's helping your job. And that's even what I hate. Batman and Robin see Poison Ivy go up this ladder, and they're going up really slow. Like, you can tell this movie, like, I feel like there's not much effort put in it, because they're going really slow up the ladders. You climb up that goddamn ladder and go find them. And then when she goes to kill Freeze's wife, she's still in the base. So it's like, the police, once again, are weak, because they, they had to surround the area, and they let Poison Ivy get away. Yeah. And one of my other things, like, I'm pulling stuff from Alice, but, like, when they show them the photo from the airport, and it's like, she's kind of covered up, and that's alright, but Bane's huge, and he has like, the luchador mask.
How would he get off through security with that?
I don't know. Like, it's just, nothing's been thought at all. It's literally just, like, throwing ideas, like, oh, yeah, because they saw him at the airport. And it's not even, like, a security cam photo. It's purely like someone took the photo.
I know. And the way that Chief Commissioner acts, he's like, look, we did such a good job finding these guys at the airport. We think it's them.
Yeah, it's terrible. What else do you have? Oh, no, sorry. While we're talking about Batman and Robin, like, the beginning's kind of like good. The beginning's decent when they are fighting about the partnership, but then they end up fighting about like Poison Ivy being in love with Robin. I hate that Robin, when he's like, it's different, we're in love, and it's like, what reason do you have to be that you're in love?
That's because of like the Mist thing. Or
I know, but it's just like it's so hard to, and I feel like I could buy the Mist thing, but they don't make clear of like how much it has an effect, because sometimes it's gone right away, the Mist thing. They hit them, it's there for like 30 seconds, then they're in the right mind, and then other days Bruce feels it on his dates like days later, which I hate that scene because he kisses her, and then she's like, who's Ivy? And he's like, first of all, I love his response. He's like, I wish I knew. And like, I'm like, oh my God, like, what a response. But then days later, that same girl's still with him in like a date dancing era. So it's like, he just kissed you and called you Ivy and gave you this weird, like, I wish I knew. and you're still with him. It's like so much for the ultimatum, like, oh, I'm gonna leave you if we don't get married. It's like, no, you're not. He just kissed you and called you a different woman. And you're like, oh, I guess I'm staying with Bruce. Like, that's what I hate, that it's fighting over this love thing, and like it turns into like, oh yeah, partnership, and then it's like all about Poison Ivy's love, and then it's just it feels like the only really good stuff is like maybe the first minute of the movie is like clear before it touches anything, but the second Alfred says bye to Batman and Batman gives him a thumbs up before he goes out the Batmobile, I'm like, oh no. And like one of the worst moments of the film in my entire franchise, and that's what I love in this Batman retrospective with the intro, putting George Clooney's Batman to it, is when Mr. Freeze is freezing everybody, and he skis down the dinosaur. He's like, hi Freeze, I'm Batman. And it's like, oh my god, like right there you knew this movie was awful. Every other Batman movie that he introduces himself, he's like, oh, I'm Batman. And like everything, this like, hi Freeze, I'm Batman. It's like, oh god, like it's so cheesy.
That part with the, I wrote a lot of quotes because I love.
No, go ahead. Those are some of the best. Awesome. Like it's that Poison Ivy quote was one of my favorite. I wish I knew. If I was still single, I'm gonna use it. If I'm ever single again in my life somehow, I'm gonna use that line again. So I wish I knew. It's like, what does that even mean?
Where's the one quote to go with that scene? It's when Mr. Freeze is there. He's attacking Robin, and Batman and all that. And Robin says, it's the hockey team from hell.
Oh, Liam has that too. Liam has that too in his notes. He's like, make sure to mention the hockey team and that line. The hockey team is awful. It's because not even like, first of all, the goons are, well, let's point out with your dialogue. The whole movie has like a lot of cheesy ice puns, like way too many. And I almost put that in the good, because it's good watching a retrospective because it's so funny. It's so bad it's funny, but it's really bad. When you think this is a Batman film, like, it's awful that this is happening. But the goons are terrible. Like, the fight scene is terrible because whoever thought having the fight scene on ice was a good idea. Because they're so awkward and they're moving around.
That was another problem. As soon as they said that and then they fell on their back, they click their heels and fucking skates pop out. Whoa.
And this is what Liam and I were like, so does this mean at some point they had fought a villain that used ice powers before? Like, because they're prepared for this, right? They've never met Mr. Freeze before, we're assuming. The ice skates, it just makes no sense. So do they go skating a lot on their free time? Do they have, and I guess I'm contradicting myself because that fits in with Batman's like, oh, he's prepared for anything, but to click the skates and whatnot, it's so bad. But yeah, the hockey team, I feel like they thought it was a good idea, but you should never have a fight scene on ice because you can't do anything that cool. Like, they're really fumbly. Like, if you look in the corner at the beginning of the hockey team from hell, one of them actually like trips and falls down, and you're like, this is awful. Yeah. Like, that opening sequence really sets the tone for what you're gonna get for the rest of the movie.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What else do you got?
When Mr. Freeze comes in, allow me to break the ice. My name is Freeze. Learn it well. For it's the chilling sound of your doom. And I mean, it's corny, but I thought it was pretty badass for an intro.
But like, that's like 3 to 4 puns in in 1-2 sentences. Like, that's crazy. Like, chilling, like Mr. Freeze, Ice of Doom, everything like that. Like, some of the lines he drops are like, when he drops Freeze in Hell, Batman, and he yells that, it's so bad. And like, everyone chill. Like, obviously everyone knows. They've seen the YouTube like montages of him ice puns. But it is eye-rolling because it feels like anytime he says something, it's an ice pun. It never feels like it's real dialogue. It's always something, either I'm gonna freeze Gotham, ice pun, my wife, or I hate Batman, and that's it. Or he's making his fucking guards dance.
Oh, that was the other thing. Singing, I wrote down, what was the name of the song?
Was it Jack Frost? Or
I'm Mr. White Christmas, and he's wearing fucking polar bear slippers.
Come on, sing, sing.
That was horrible.
And I pointed out, I hate that all the guards, they're super like cold and everything, but in the whole scene, everyone's talking, no breath is coming from that. So it's like, it's not that cold. You can't even see breath coming from their mouths.
Especially because he has that half-naked woman.
Oh, I know.
Who's not even cold at all.
Yeah, she's just wearing like a layer of plastic, where these guys are wearing hockey pads and like egg glue materials. Yeah, no, I agree. That was.
And I don't get why does he have that girl around? Obviously, he has like special friendship benefits with her. And,
I don't know
but
if
he's so butthurt about his wife.
I don't know if he does. Like, and that's a thing that they never clear with Mr. Freeze, and obviously because it's a terrible film. But like, I don't know. So if she's not like a friends with benefits, why is she actually there? Like, what does she do? Because he doesn't really seem that interest in her at all, and she's not crime fighting at all. And to do like back with the Freeze thing, I hate that at the end of the movie, because in the comics, and the thing that made it most famous was the Batman animated series. They did this great episode of Mr. Freeze, and it was showing him this guy who was really hurt about saving his wife, but it was kind of thing, he didn't want to kill just innocent random people, but it's like it was a necessary evil to help his wife. But I never get that vibe from him. I get a vibe anytime he's hurting people or doing stuff, he's like enjoying it. Like he's a criminal, but then at the end of the movie, he's all regretful and he has this emotional conversation with Batman and everything. And it's like, this is nowhere in the movie the whole time. He's just killing people and like chill. And he's like, I can't, whatever. I'm not going to list off all those puns, but he's laughing when he kills people. The same way when he kills Robin. It's not in the animated series. He would freeze Robin and be like, "You'd have 10 seconds, detective, to defrost him." I like that. He does this in this movie, but then he laughs at Batman. Then he freezes the door and he goes, ah, and he waves at him. It's like, this guy doesn't seem like he cares about innocent people at all. It's like, I feel like, but that's what I mean. They tried to do this angle of like, oh yeah, he's like a hurt guy, and then at the end they do this weird setup with him and Poison Ivy, and it's like, obviously Arkham's a bad, shady prison, but it's like, so they literally just locked Mr. Freeze in this same cell as Poison Ivy, so what, he's gonna beat the shit out of her until she dies? Because he says, "I'm gonna make your life a living hell." Like, what is the, like, this is dark, but like, is he sexually assaulting her? Is he gonna like beat her up? Is he what is their thinking when they're like, yeah, let's let Mr. Freeze in there?
Yeah, but they let him like kind of have a little bit of free roam in there, because Batman said we're gonna move your wife there and all that. That's okay, because that's all he wanted. He wanted to keep working on his wife.
But like Liam pointed this out, and I have his list. He's like, why would they let this guy who just tried to destroy the entire city, like, yeah, we'll let you work on your wife and have an entire lab. What happens if he makes some more weapons to escape or some shit?
Well, I think because they have Batman's voice and Batman's like word to back him up. So obviously the police put a lot of trust in Batman, so.
I would feel like as a judge, I'd be like, no, I know you said that, but like, he ain't getting no lab. Like, his wife's actually dead. You lied to him. Like, his wife's alive. I would just laugh, like, in the spirit, like, no, you lied just to get that fucking serum or whatever. Like, he tried to kill everybody. We're not letting him have a lab. What if he tries to, like, it's all the movie. That's what I hate with Mr. Freeze with that. And then at the end, they try and make you feel bad, and they do this whole emotional beat for Mr. Freeze when he's having this conversation. But because the whole film is awful, you're not emotionally, like, hurt or invested at all. You're just sitting there, like, oh boy, and like George Clooney's trying his best to act, and I hate that it's almost the exact same from Batman Forever, with Riddler's laying down all hurt, and Batman's talking to him, and Mr. Freeze is all hurt, and he's talking to him, and then he has the serum right there, and he does the whole like, take two, and call me in the morning, and it's like, oh my god, it's so bad, but yeah, so that was a good point. What else are you gonna?
I love their suits, like near like when they finally got Batgirl into it. I love like their suits
with the nipples.
No, not that. I mean the colors, like the black with the silver lining on it. It looked pretty cool.
Here's my question: do you think? First of all, I don't know, that would have taken so long to change. When it makes no sense, they run away. And she has her helmet. And that's what I love, too. When she fights Poison Ivy, and then he's like, oh, what do we call you, Batgirl? Or like Batwoman or whatnot? And she's like, Bruce, it's me, Barbara. And it's like, no fucking shit. Like, these characters have no idea. It's like, first of all, this girl's living with you. You should know. But it's like, all she has is like eyeshadow on and a mask. And then she has her helmet. But, okay, so first of all, to change, that would take so much time. And they would just waste time and Freeze kill. But why do you think they change? Is that supposed to, like, keep them warm in that suit? Like, it's supposed to be like ice repellent, the silver? Or why? Or did they change?
I think it's just to look cool. Because, I mean, even in
just Batman, sell toys, pretty much.
Yeah. In Batman Forever, I mean, like, even at the end, like, they finally got on their main suits. Like, this is.
But that was different, because remember, the cave was destroyed. So, those are the only suits left. Like, here's the prototypes. But this, they literally had to change in between the Poison Ivy scene and the race car scene. And it's like, the world is on the line, and they changed. I think the suits, Vice and Nipples, kind of look cool, but like, yeah, they don't really explain why they're needed to change. In the other movie, it's like, okay, all the rest of the suits are gone, but it's just like, no, wardrobe change. And same thing as like her helmet. It's on and then it's off.
I don't like the helmet.
No, it was too big. It didn't like because the reason was it wasn't attached with the rest of the suit, so it was literally just a biker's helmet that like of course Alfred had made for her, which.
Well, it makes sense why they got the suits. I mean, they had to go back to the Batcave to get the 3 vehicles.
Oh, they did,
changed, so.
But like that would have been such a waste of time. The entire world's frozen, and and that's why I laugh at the end. Alfred's like, "We're gonna need a bigger Batcave." I'm like, "No, you don't. That cave's huge, and like look at all the stuff it stores randomly, and plus he has enough room to hide outfits from Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne doesn't even know that he's First of all, in Forever, he makes Robin's outfit without him knowing, and then he makes Batgirl's outfit without him knowing. And like, let's talk about the stupid password thing. That's awful. Like, first of all, why do you think he wants her to be Batgirl?
Let's see. I don't really know.
She has no training, and the way Batman's supposed to be, it's supposed to be a terrible life, but he's like, oh yeah, here's this thumb drive. Which, first of all, the first password she tries to put in, I wrote them down so I remember, is Alfred. I'm like, man, like, first of all, then again, I shouldn't give this movie much credit, but it's like, if this is a man named Alfred and his password's Alfred, give me a break. And then she's like, Wayne, and then later on, she tries like a few other that's just like family names, and then she does get the she tries Margaret, that doesn't work, and then what?
Peg.
It's Peg. But then the one she also tries is England, and I'm like, that like, oh, his passport's England, yeah, this fucking British guy's passport. So he does this, and then why did Alfred make this like PowerPoint like Microsoft presentation of all of Batman's?
Yeah, that could fall into the wrong hands of anyone.
Yeah.
It details everything.
And I like at the end it has all the blueprints, the costumes, and then at the end Alfred for not Sapaz. What is that? Fataz? What am I like? Fataz, or what is that word? What is it?
I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm not sure of that word.
For excitement, I guess, just to spice it up, like all this information, and then like the Batman and Robin logo like match up. It's like, why do you have this? Like, it just seems so sad. But
He's just obsessed.
He really
sits in his room at night.
Making this like
photo editing.
Master Wayne's gonna love this. And then this brain algorithm thing, and it's like, suit me up. And it's just like, why? Why should she be on the team? She has no training, even though in one point in the movie she takes Robin down like nothing. When Robin's like, hey, what are you doing in the garage? She like judo throws him, and I'm like, what happened? Like, obviously they don't explain anything in this film, but
well, she's like the same level as Poison Ivy, where she needs the switchblade. That's the extent of Batgirl's training, as far as they've explained.
Yeah, and then she just has a suit, and she has everything it's already made for her. Because what happened if you made this suit and she's like, I'm not doing this. Like, it's just there. So, yeah. What else do you have?
Well, a lot of that was like, in most super movies, like, I thought it was cool that Mr. Freeze kind of just came back, because most villains are like, no, fuck you, and they die. So I thought that was kind of cool to see him
at the
back
end?
on a positive note.
On a positive note, yeah. He's a good guy now, who the jail's just letting walk around in his ice suit, which is how he escaped the first time when he put in the water. But that's okay.
I love the intro scene with the symbols combined, and I love the music, but I know that was Alfred that made that.
It is actually cool, and I will say at the very end of the movie, still when they run from the bat signal, it's still cool. It's like, man, I wish this movie was better, because it's a cool like Avengers lineup shot. But it's cool, but unfortunately,
polar bear slippers covered that. George Clooney, I like George Clooney as Batman.
You like him as Batman?
I like George Clooney. Like, he's not up there with my Michael Keaton or my Christian Bale, but I mean, I like George Clooney as Batman. He has that good look for a Bruce Wayne.
He does, yeah.
But he didn't have the I'm Batman. Like, he just
he had nothing.
Freeze.
He literally talks in his own voice, and that's it. And he's a terrible Batman. I'd like to see him actually try it again one day, because it's just like in a Dark Knight Returns situation or something. He's a good actor. I know he'll never try it again, because he just always jokes that he ruined the franchise and whatnot. But it's just, like, he's a much better actor, but it's just awful. And I feel like you do get the vibe he doesn't know, or like he knows it's not going to be good. Like, his Bruce Wayne is better than his Batman, but his Batman's not intimidating at all. His Batman makes stupid decisions all the time. And he's an alright Bruce Wayne, but he's pretty bad. But it's because the script. It's not him. It's because the writing. So, yeah.
the one part that I'm not sure if I hate it or if I really love it. And it's when they're bidding on Poison Ivy, and he pulls out his visa, and the expiration date is forever on it.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of cool. It's not to Batman, but that's in my negative notes of like, Batman should never be at some like dance ball situation. Like, it's so cheesy. They're just standing there, and they're just, what are they doing? They're just, obviously I know they're there for freeze, but in the public side, they're just standing there doing nothing. It's shouldn't these guys be...
It was a trap, though, because Bruce Wayne, he had his
I know, but I mean...
So they were there because they lure in
But they should be in secret. They shouldn't be hanging out on stage. That's not much of a trap.
That's true.
If Mr. Freeze is like, hey, Batman Robin there, like, now he's like, let's bring all our goons. What if he's going along? Like, why are they hanging out stage in the Batman character? Like, imagine Christian Bale's Batman, or Michael Keaton's Batman, hanging out at, like, a dancing situation, just like... Yeah, I'm here. Like,
or at least even not in costume, too.
Whoa, yeah, I know. Like, I imagine if he's Bruce Wayne, it's like, okay, yeah, but Batman's just standing on stage with the rest of the people, and I hate... What are they bidding on?
They're bidding on a date with the girl.
A date, okay. Mainly I wasn't sure, because I'm like, are they just prostituting themselves out?
Yeah, they're bidding on a date.
Because I missed that part, because I'm like, this is awful. This is awful if it's just like 10 million for one night. I'm
yeah,
like, oh my God.
Kidding.
It's still bad, but it's like...
And then you got Robin, who's like, oh, 5 million, I'll borrow it from you.
Yeah, and it's like, no, you won't. I'm not going to give it to you. But that was a good line. But yeah, the Bat credit card. One eye roller. Because, like, how did he get that? He had to go to... Once again, this Batman probably goes anywhere. He's probably standing in, like, Scotia Bank, like, in a suit, like, who's next? Oh, and Batman has his... Like, God. What else do you got?
I love the part, too, actually. Oh, this is actually a good part.
So you two have a lot of positives. See, you said you wouldn't, but...
I really tried. I really got down and tried to find the positives that I really liked. When Mr. Freeze is in the rocket and it blows up after and he's gliding down and Batman and Robin get onto the piece of debris and they're like surfboarding down in the air. That was pretty cool to see. I liked it. Like, it was...
Except it didn't work with the law of gravity at all.
I know. They were... Well, if you put gravity aside, it is absolutely badass. But if you're like huge into science, then don't watch this movie.
That's a given. We should have thrown that up. I'll throw that up in the comments. If you're huge into science, don't watch Batman and Robin. I know. Well, yeah, they use the doors, remember?
Yeah,
to break
the doors,
off.
that's it.
And then Batman has his bomb-shaped bat. The bat bomb shape. Mm-hmm. And then Robin's like, cowabunga. And then... Do you think Mr. Freeze, once again on a science note, him doing that freeze gun, would that actually work? Or would he just fall and cripple himself?
I mean, I could see it working in the sense because it's slowing him down, but at the same time, it's just going to be freezing the bottom ground, so he's not going to break his fall. His legs are going to smash on the ice because he's going to slip.
Well, the whole thing Liam pointed out too is like, it should just be all ice. Why is it snow everywhere? And it's like snow throughout the whole thing. And that scene, like, boy, that's like that chase scene of through a door, close the door. It's so bad. And then it's really weird. They're standing beside each other, Batman and Robin. Robin's like, I got him. And he freezes him. And then, of course, there happens to be, like, this pool of water he can just... And how come the water's fine? Everything else in this whole factory are frozen, but the water's bubbling and it's warm. And he does the...
Oh, well, no, Batman... It wasn't bubbling warm, because Batman did his laser on it.
Okay, there's water there that I think was bubbling a bit, though. I swear. I watched the guys... Either way, the water's not... It should be ice frozen. And it's just like... And then the way... Obviously, Batman works out, but they've not established that in this movie because George Clooney's not the biggest guy. He lifts Robin up like nothing. First of all, Robin is at least 100-pound man, plus frozen, but he just like, oh, and he like throws him, and like that's it. Like, I actually had that toy. I had that toy as a kid where you could like the goal was like you got the ice diamonds and you put them in there, and it came with Mr. Freeze, and you could flip in. The goal was like to freeze them in the water and stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Toys. That's why this movie was made. Was toys. That's the main reason why lots of people say it's bad because they force out there just so you can sell more toys and whatnot.
Yeah. I like Robin's reaction too when he gets unthawed. Did we get him? Like he's just so like, oh, we totally did it.
That's
he just ruined the whole plan and got frozen.
Yeah. What else do you got?
Let's see. I think most that I got left are just like, the one part where it's like, Bruce, it's Barbara or whatever. And Batman and Robin, they say, she knows who we are. I guess we'll just have to kill her. Yep, we'll kill her later. We've got work to do.
That's an alright line.
She might have taken it seriously, I feel like. Like, I just found, like, this rich guy's, like, obsessed, like, night, like, life, like, bat cave, and, like, now he wants to kill me.
Or imagine if it's the reverse, you don't get that Mr. Free Poison Ivy ending, and they get to the bat cave, and, like, yeah, we saved Gotham, and she's, like, taking off her helmet or whatnot, and the Robin just, like, lays her out with a punch, and then Bruce laying her out, and they're just, like, beating her down. Like, imagine what a dark ending, and they're just, like, and first of all, too, Batman just throwing around the kill word, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill her, but imagine the parallel alternate ending somewhere in a universe that, like, we did it, and they, like, stabbing her and, like, beating her down, and Alfred comes down, and, like, they just start beating him up and whatnot, like, we still need you, like, yeah. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I wrote something about Bane on here.
Who's a terrible character. He's a mindless zombie who does nothing. You think about Dark Knight Rises Bane, who's smart, and even the comics very smart. This Bane does nothing. He's just there.
I mean, I kind of thought he was cool. Like, he was like big and huge and everything, which I imagined him to be, like, just jacked and, like, enhanced and everything like that. But yeah, he was dumb and brainwashed and, like, boom. And
he just would replace. Yeah, he'd just say whatever somebody else would say. Like, he seemed like he had hit a lobotomy, to be honest. Like, yeah. Was that your last thing about Bane being?
That was the only thing I had about Bane. Yeah.
Just he looked cool.
He looked cool, but he was just he was a little kid.
Yeah.
I thought I had one more quote. I guess that's
maybe it'll come up when I read mine.
Quotes, yeah.
So I got a few. These are all under the bad things, but Arnold gets top billing in the beginning of the movie, if you notice. In the credits, it's like in the very first, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then it's like George Clooney. He gets top billing over Batman. Yeah, and the same thing happens in the original Batman. Jack Nicholson gets it over Keaton, so that's kind of funny. I already talked about I'm Batman. That's awful. Hi, I'm Batman. Or hey, freeze, I'm back, or Batman. It's so cheesy. When he breaks through the wall, it leaves a full-on
the symbol.
Yeah, which makes no sense. The cape wouldn't do that. None of that would do that. Like, he has his legs and his arms and his head. Like, it would, like, that means he literally would have had to, like, jump and make a moving arm motion to do, like, it makes, or wait, no, that was when Robin came with the bike, wasn't it?
Yeah, the bike scene.
That's even worse.
What scene were you talking about?
It was that. I forgot. I thought Batman did that, but that's even worse because it's a straight line. It wouldn't make a Bat or Robin symbol.
A perfect Robin
yeah, it's
symbol.
Perfect. It just feels so stupid. It feels just so like, yeah, and then we'll put a Robin symbol there because he breaks it. Like, it seemed, this is literally the example. Batman Superman versus Superman might not be that good. It's not going to be this bad. This is the level of, like, people who should not be making Batman are making Batman. And that was awful. I talked about the bad dialogue. That happens throughout the movie. It's not even like I've seen, like, it's written poorly. It's acted pretty poorly from start to finish. Just all the time. Like, just scenes of just, like, Barbara saying that Alfred's sick and she walks away. And the second she walks away, Bruce is like, yeah, he's sick. And it's like, we're just standing there. Let's, like, where does this come from? There's so much bad writing. And there's one part, too, me and Liam actually rewound it and watched it 5 times at the very end. He's like, you're going to go back to school. And she's like, oh, no. And Robin's like, oh, you can't make her do that. And there's, like, this awkward 10 seconds of silence. And Bruce is like, and then they go back to talking. And it's like, what is happening here? It's so awkward. Like, it feels like a spoof movie. Like, if this was a spoof movie, it'd be a 10 out of 10. But it's not. I said, yeah, Bane looks cool, but he's just awful. Like, he's just awful. He's just there. He's just a lackey. He could be anybody. I brought the airport photo. Let's see. Oh yeah, Freeze. Not scary at all. Once you see the scene of him in panda slippers and dancing to, like, Mr. Snow or whatever, he's not scary at all. Not that he was that scary, but you could say, okay, maybe he's a little intimidating despite his, like, terrible puns. But, like, why is he dancing? Like, why is this happening? Like,
no, you think he'd be trying to save his wife? Yeah. He's trying to compose his song, and he gets mad about it. I mean, it's stupid.
And, like, yeah, like you said, save his wife, or even just, like, brooding, like, everything like that. Like, it makes like, that's why this character's awful. Like, it's probably one of the worst characters I've ever seen, because it's all over the place. It's very much like Two-Face and Batman Forever. He's all over the place, like, super highs and low lows, like, he's definitely what do they call that? Was split personalities, or people are all not schizophrenic. What is that? Bipolar. Yeah. That's what he seems like. He seems like 1 second he's crying over his wife, his tear freezes, and then 30 seconds before that he's like, "I'm Mr." What's happening? I hate that Batgirl. The first beginning, she's like this pure sex object. Bruce and Robin are just like checking her out the whole time, like. What is the line? She says something, and then he's like, "I could be," or "I wish," like.
Well, is that when she knocks on the door?
Yeah.
She knocks on the door, and she's like looking through the window, and he opens up, "Please be for me."
Oh yeah, I know. And it's like, oh my god, and it just takes her like this one like Batman Forever is really bad, but this is too like Batman Forever is a lot worse as far as like women and sex objects. But like between that and the girls being for like the dating and Poison Ivy, like her character fits like her using her sexuality, but the rest of it is just like. It's just really bad writing. I hate that when he's in the little planetarium thing that everyone loves Bruce. Most people like Bruce, but he still kind of knows like an asshole billionaire. But it's like, the thing I brought up to Liam is the planetarium, the way he built it is he built an entire statue and then a man in the statue holding it. And I'd feel like, fuck this guy, what an ego. He just built a golden statue in the middle of shit, but everyone's just like, oh, Bruce. Like, it's so annoying. Like, I hope in this Batman vs. Superman, if it's like that, people hate Bruce Wayne, are annoyed with him, you know? But it's just like everyone loves Bruce, and he's being interviewed all the time, and blah, 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 and they ask him about marriage, and it's just like, he's just on an episode of Oprah, and it's just poor writing. I put the ball scene, the dancing ball scene, it's just all bad. Now, here's a question. Did Bane dance in that monkey suit? Because he takes off a monkey takes off the helmet or his mask, and Bane's under there. So all of them were dancing.
I don't remember Bane dancing.
No, but that's what I mean. No, but like I
just remember Poison Ivy doing all the dancing. Bane was just kind of wobbling around in the monkey suit.
Okay. Because
yeah, he was wobbling around, and it just when finally you see everyone starting to dance and stuff. Then it's focusing on Poison Ivy, and she's doing the hand things or whatever, and Bane's just standing behind her.
I'll give it that then, because I was like, does that mean Bane is dancing this whole time? He knows nothing, but he can dance. Yeah, I put down Batgirl takes down Rob when he's like investigating someone in like the garage, and she just like takes him out, and it's just like, wow, your training's really going really well, you know, like. And then he talks about him being in the simulator. We don't see any of that, you know. It's just the airport photo. Again, I don't know why I brought that up. I think it's just like I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Now, here's a nice. Did the Batman and Bane fight scene give you any flashbacks to Dark Knight Rises because they're on a catwalk again? If you think about it,
I forgot about that.
They're on a catwalk.
Really? I totally forgot. I didn't clue in. Sure, I guess.
It's a terrible fight scene.
Oh yeah.
I hate that Batman like takes a pole and just like hits him in the head, and he's like, oh, and then I feel like Robin has every right to be mad because Batman has every right, because when Batman gets fallen down, Poison Ivy's talking to him, and he's just like laying there listening to it. And Robin could have his neck snap right now, and he's just like, oh, and he drops that line of like, is it just me, or what is about the women in my life being all like homicidal psychopaths? And I was like, oh boy, that was bad. Yeah, like, but don't you feel like in this movie, even though it's bad, Robin kind of has a reason to be mad at Batman, because he makes a lot of poor choices. Because then after this, well, we already talked about, but yeah, Batman's like idea to resolve the situation with Robin is to beat him up and throw him into the ice cream. Like, don't you feel like he's kind of right in this movie to be so mad?
Yeah, and plus, I mean, just to make him even more madder, this girl, Barbara, she just comes in the picture and instantly she's a partner. And Robin had to go through all this shit. Yeah. So I'd be really choked about that.
First night, he's like, well, I guess so. It's like, really? I spent a whole movie trying to be your partner. Yeah, I put in that whole, like, all the romance is pointless in this movie. Like, they try and hint at a little bit with Barbara and Robin, obviously, which I'll get into. Like, I only have one fun fact, because like there's not fun facts about this movie. Like, the other one was the George Clooney one, but obviously they're setting up probably a sequel for Robin and Batgirl to be more romantic, but they tried to make that work and it didn't really. And then they have this Poison Ivy one, and then they have Bruce with his model girlfriend. It's like, the romance is so weak in this movie. Like, there's no point. They're just there. It's just kind of like a weird subplot and
Commissioner Gordon and Ivy's romance there.
Oh yeah,
brief
first
as it was.
yeah, as brief as it was. And that's what I hate. The 2 scenes you see him at, like the 3 scenes is like the ball, the lair, and then when he lets out the bat signal. It's like I still feel like when Bane rips that bat signal, shouldn't other cops hear that? They're not under the spell, right? And he's pretty loud. He's like, "Rah!" Like, yeah. Alfred really goes from like bad to worse really quickly. He's walking around, he's helping with the bat suits, he's cooking dinner, and then next day he's like bedridden, like, yeah, all you can do is make him comfortable. Like, he's gonna die. Like, right away, he's bad for worse. And I just, obviously that can't happen with cancer, but in the movie it's like...
Well, it's not cancer in the movie, is it?
Oh, right, it's McGregor's syndrome. Because they never really... They don't say that until he talks to Freeze, right? Because all Bruce says is, he's dying. He's no, so
he's just giving up. He's dying.
Yeah,
he's dead already.
Yeah, and we don't know it's McGregor syndrome, and they don't tell. The only way you can know is in a comic. Sorry, I have hiccups. The only way you can tell if you read comics or the animated series. But as someone that you don't, or you have like a few like minor experience with them, do you know what McGregor's syndrome is?
No, they don't. I mean, I looked it up, and it's only exists in that universe. It's not a real life disease. Yeah. So when they say it, I'm like, oh. Okay, McGregor had it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it makes no sense whatsoever. Of
that one part though when Alfred he didn't wake up in time to open the door, and Bruce is like, "Oh, it's okay. It's the first time it's happened in over 30 years." And it seems like such a little asshole, like smart ass remark to say.
Like I feel like with Keaton, he felt like a father and son, and then with Val Kilmer you kind of have that, and with Bale you kind of have that like a father figure. But yeah, in this one, Bruce Wayne is like a little shit to like Alfred and whatnot, and it just, yeah, it doesn't. And honestly, I think that's most of this is because the writing. It's not because the actors, but you don't feel like they have any connection whatsoever. You feel like
the one scene where he kind of reminisces, like he sees the little himself with Alfred.
That's about it. But then he's like, and he laughs. Yeah. Bruce Wayne laughs a lot, kind of like, oh, this sucker helped me out. Like, oh, that's one of my favorite things. I put Rob. We talk about fight scene, but yeah, Robin has a right to be pissed. Batman makes terrible choices. When I think it's when Alfred's in a bed, and I can't remember if they're standing there or Barbara and Dick are talking. I'm trying to get specific because the scene that stands out and it's really bad. There's one point where they talk and they kind of like walk away, and then you pan over and Bruce is like standing there watching them, or he's watching Alfred, and then he has like kind of a memory, and then he walks away. But if you notice, he's standing there and he's holding a door. Behind him is the Batcave. It's like it's riggery shadows and like it's all like cement.
Really?
Yeah. So it's literally like if Barbara walks by, just happens to walk by, Bruce is standing there because if you remember forever, it's just a door that separates the Batcave. So there's literally it's him standing there and it's Batcave behind him and he goes in. So it's like if anybody, including Barbara, walks by, it's like, what do you got back there, Bruce? Like nothing. Like don't worry about it. Like. He's just nonchalant. Like he doesn't even care that he's Batman.
Well,
really.
Alfred keeps letting people in there. So
yeah, he doesn't
have a door. Batman doesn't even care anymore.
Like if you think about Returns, is the only one where he doesn't actually let anybody in there. Like first one's Vicky Vale. The third one he doesn't let Robin in, but he pretty much eggs Robin. He makes him a goddamn suit, and then this one he gives directions to Batgirl for the Batcave. And yeah, I brought up the password scene. I brought the switchblade. Why is Plant attacker. Okay, so there's two things. The final fight. There's actually a lot of things that are really bad at the final fight with Mr. Freeze versus all of them. So if you've seen the movie, obviously he freezes everyone. Which, skipping a little ahead, if that was all unfrozen, wouldn't that create a tsunami in Gotham? After it's not even like just people are frozen, buildings. That huge statue man is frozen. It's like a mountain. If that was unfrozen, it would be like what's that? The Day After Tomorrow movie. Yeah, like that's what it'd be. And I just love that. It's like no, it's just like evaporates into the air. And like Poison Ivy's plan, what was to freeze it over and to then.
Poison Ivy wanted to thaw out and let man's died off and have the whole world grow in this new plant age or whatever. Let Mother Nature come back.
I guess, but it's like you're only getting one city, and I feel like the rest of the city's gonna be like, "Okay, we're gonna nuke this place."
Yeah.
Like if they kill everybody and they just do plants, I think they're gonna nuke it. And the other thing, Liam pointed out this to me, like, wouldn't it eventually melt because Mr. Freeze doesn't freeze the sun? Eventually, the sun's gonna come up, right? Like, obviously they're worried about the people dying, but how are Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze supposed to regulate the ice staying there if the sun's gonna come out and melt it?
I think they hope that everyone will just die right away.
And then she just gets
the crack.
she just
goes and plants all of her stuff.
So the final fight, I hate. They get up there and the satellite is up there and everything, the gun. And Barbara and Dick, they're working on something. And Batman, first of all, you get the cheesiness. Batman's working on something and then Freeze pops his head in this big magnifying glass. I don't know what effect they're going for, but it's super cheesy with him. And I with the Batman, it's just like big Batman face. And the glasses, like if you've taken glasses and you've put it up against another magnifying glass, like it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And this is why Batman is so dumb in this movie. He literally lets Freeze stands there for 10 seconds and like drops the line like, oh, what line? It's not the dinosaurs line, but there's so many bad ones, but he says something like, a freeze is coming tonight. Or like, tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming. Yeah. Batman stands there, lets it out, and then Mr. Freeze like makes the first move, like, oh, okay. And they get to fighting, which is so awful. Like, it's bad fight scene and whatnot. And then at one point, those scientists are hanging on. And the guy scientist is like, dirty fighter, dirty fighter. Mr. Freeze is just throwing punches. Yeah. Like, he didn't even do anything. And it's a life or death fight. Like, why does he matter dirty fighting? Like, it's so stupid. Now, can you also answer me? So that's dumb. And then Batgirl and Robin, they get knocked off. They go all the way down. They do the whole, like, battering thing, which would rip their arms off, by the way. Like, gravity and science, everything. Like, just the power, the sheer velocity of that. But why is Bane at the bottom? Because they land there, and he's there.
I don't know. It's like he anticipated. But I mean, he can dance, so yeah. He is smart.
Because if you think about when Freeze be like, you should be up here with me in case Batman and Robin, because he didn't know about Batgirl at this point. So in case Batman and Robin show up, and it's not 2 against 1. And especially if that all happened, they fall down, it'd be Bane versus Batman. And you saw the earlier fight, Batman he's not Dark Knight Rises him. He can't beat Bane.
Yeah.
So it would be Mr. Freeze and Bane versus Batman. So you think Mr. Freeze would have been like, hey, Mr. Bane, like, stay up here. But no, Bane is just... So if no one else falls down that cliff or whatever, is Bane just standing there like...
He's just standing there waiting. Waiting for something.
Yeah, like, it makes... no sense whatsoever. I hate when they do the kick the tube. The tube comes out so easily. Like, you don't even have... You could just, like, blow on the tube and it would fall out. Yeah, I talked about just the ending and all. Like, the plan's terrible. The ending is terrible. Like, the whole thing as a package. Probably the thing that sticks out the most for me in this entire movie is when he's like, you killed my wife. And he's like, no, I didn't. She's still alive, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, how do you prove? Or whatever. He's like, oh, you're lying. And then he shows the clip of Poison Ivy. It's literally the same clip from the movie. First of all, Batman was in vines. How did he record that? He was stuck. And second of all, at least show it from the top, or even just have the audio clip play, and then like that's my biggest pet peeve in film, when they show like a camera footage or something, and it's the exact same scene we've seen in the movie. It's like, what is happening here? Yeah. Like, it's awful. And then here's the last part I have about the ending, because the ending overall is just bad. The gun is falling and everything like this. Obviously, sorry, I meant to mention this before. The gun, the ray is falling and everything like this, and he saves the scientist, and it's falling. And it falls past Barbara and Dick. And Barbara's like, what should we do?
I know.
And Dick's like, pray! And it's like, most useless sidekick ever. Like, I feel like he knows he's in the will, and he gets everything, and Bruce dies. Like, what should we do? Pray. That's it? Like, we shouldn't try to, like, swing down or swing...
That's why Batman kept him as a freaking sidekick, because he's useless.
Yeah, and that's what the last point had, was useless sidekick, and then they have their awkward dialogue of, like, yeah, we're going to be a team. They shake hands, and then Bruce awkwardly, like, puts his hands over top. It's not even like a 1, 2, 3 in. It's like handshake, and then Bruce is, like, holding their hands. And then Alfred... I'm dropping the conspicuous line of, we're going to get a sequel of, like, we're going to need a bigger cave. And they didn't get that bigger cave, so... Which lasted my... Do you have any notes on that?
No, I don't.
Well, speaking of that was the only fun fact. There's a couple, but nothing that noteworthy. Like, there wasn't that big casting choices, this and that. They originally wanted Mr. Freeze to be older, and they had a few different actors, but they like, oh, we should get Arnold big and buff. The big thing was, the plan was, if this was going to be a success, was to do a film called Batman Triumphant, and it was going to have the villains of Man-Bat, Scarecrow, and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was going to be the daughter of the Joker instead of Joker's like love interest. She was gonna be played by Madonna. That was the rumor. Scarecrow was supposed to be played by Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
I still wish this film kind of got made, even though I know if it got made, we wouldn't have got The Dark Knight. So that's why I'm glad it didn't. But there's a parallel universe where I wish I could see this movie. And one of the big things, Jack Nicholson was supposed to come back as the Joker because he would hit him with the fear toxin, and he would have flashbacks of Jack Nicholson as the Joker. So, yeah, that was the plan, and the plan was also to spin Robin off into a Nightwing movie. So that was the plan. They had big plans for this to be a success, and
they should have tried a little harder.
Yeah, and should not have sold as much. So, overall, like, what do you take away from this as a whole? And what do you think of a score, if you have one?
What do I take away? Like, what do you mean?
Like, overall, like, how do you feel about this film? Well, like, once we review, like, I don't know, how sum up your feelings about this film.
I feel like it's good. I feel like if you were to
It's good?
Well,
you're terrible optimist.
If you take a comic book and literally scoop it up onto a TV screen, I feel like that movie is kind of like that.
I would disagree. Maybe the older ones and kid ones, but I feel like Darker Batman. You haven't read any comic books before, right? Or
no, I guess I shouldn't say comic books. I mean, if you take like a Batman cartoon for kids and kind of throw it right onto the screen, that's what you get.
Yeah, like I think I said already before. Obviously, it's a terrible movie, but it has its place because if it didn't happen, we wouldn't have what followed later. And it's one of those things of, we talk about movies all the time, like a good movie kicking off a genre. This almost did the reverse, where it kicked off a genre in the future and showed what you shouldn't do, and showed that you should take more care of franchises and certain IPs and whatnot. Because you look at Batman, he's a juggernaut. I think he's in the top 3 for the most popular heroes. You see kids all the time dressed as him. Mm-hmm. Your mom and dad, your grandparents know who Batman is. Everyone pretty much likes or loves Batman or loves one Batman film. They know who Batman is. Like, he's very popular. And I think this, in the retrospective of not even talking about the film, but it, as its place in history, I think it's very important. Same way as Batman 66, because it got us to another point. Yes, it's a bad movie, but it was a turning point that showed we shouldn't do. It showed what you shouldn't do. And I feel like without this, a lot of other movies like Blade and X-Men and Spider-Man 2, or just Spider-Man that came out maybe like 2 to 5 years later, it showed like, okay, this is gonna be awful, let's not do that. And you kind of need that, you need to, what is that expression about the eggs, it's like break a
few eggs before
make an omelet or whatever. You break a few eggs, and that's kind of what this is. It's one of those things that you need a bad film to show, because, and truthfully, the good thing is it was not a success, because if this was a success, we would have got Batman Triumphant or 5 and Scarecrow. Like, we wouldn't have got Dark Knight. And if this is a success, and that's why I'm a big naysayer of Transformer films, we'll get more of that. And Batman Wrong, if that was a success, we would have got more of just campy unthoughtfulness, or just unthoughtful screenplays, and not acting, but because I feel like it was probably bad and they probably gave up. And looking at the movie, I can kind of see why. But just more in-depth, thought-provoking, period, good movies. Just that's not even all these things. Just make an entertaining movie. Just make a C+ movie. Just make something that you could, like an action movie, put on. Like, this is below that. And I feel like that's why this movie is important. It's one of these things that I still do watch every once in a while, because it's just like, I should be happy that The Dark Knight at one point, well, not even, The Dark Knight was talked about being nominated for Best Picture for an Oscar, but it even won some Oscars. Like, Heath Ledger won an Oscar. Like, that is an Academy Award winning film. And to see, and that's why I like Batman 66, Batman Robin, that's why we do them, because some people are like, oh, those are shit, or they're campy or cheesy, you don't do them. It's like, you get to see the progression of where we came from. We came from ice puns and dancing monkeys and sex objects and whatnot. And this is why I'm saying this. I'm giving this like kind of a bow tie, because coming up next is the Nolan trilogy, and it's like, it's a much different thing, and you get to see the evolution of superhero movies. And look how far we came from ice skates to Batman being considered an Oscar. And I think I know a lot of people on The Dark Knight that be like, oh, it's kind of boring if you take Heath Ledger out, blah blah. Everyone has their opinions, but I still feel personally, through I see online and the people I know, I still feel like anytime you ask them, Dark Knight is either one of their favorites or they say it's the greatest comic book movie. And that's why I think this film is important, because you get to see what happened. Like, you get to see, like, it's kind of like the impetus to, oh, okay, never do that again, you know? And I think that's a good thing. And we get little reminders of that sometimes. Like, look at Fantastic Four last year, you know? I don't think there's been that bad of a superhero movie since Green Lantern. Like, it seems to happen every 4 to 5 years, maybe even 6 to 8, pushing it, but every once in a while there has to almost be a bad one. I don't want there. I'd like everyone to be knocked out of the park, but every once in a while there has to be a bad one to remind you that these aren't just things you throw together. You can't just be like, oh yeah, superheroes fighting things. You know, there has to be thought behind it. So, yeah, that's... Oh, if I had to rate it, I don't know. IMDb, I think had it as a 3. As an overall... Okay, here's the way. As an overall Batman film, and as just a film in general, I'd likely give it a 1. I literally would. I'll give it a 3 because 2 points, it gives you comedic value. The way I do watch this movie, today I did watch it in a review type like way. I did kind of like, but it's hard because this one's it's very much like Batman 66 is hard. It feels like it's like 66. It feels like if this was a movie that took place in 66, I'd be like, okay, I get it. But it's like you had Tim Burton and whatnot and all these things, so it should be better. So I give it 2 points because now I view it as just a comedy and I kind of watch and have fun, other than today when I tried to be try to have a critical eye, but it's hard. Even when you have a critical eye, you still laugh because it's kind of bad. But is there anything if you had to give it a score?
If I had to give it a score, I'd give it... I want to say a 4, but I feel like that's really high. I mean, I'd probably go between... I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
And, I mean, I love the comedic puns and all that.
3.5 ice puns out of 10.
Ice puns, yeah. And I love... I like seeing all, like, the characters and all of that. Like, I like in a superhero movie when you get everyone together, like the Avengers. I like seeing a huge amount of like villains and heroes. And back then there weren't, I can't remember off the top of my head, any like superhero movies that had like a bunch all in the same movie. Because I mean, that's
X-Men was the only one that came, but that came a few years later, and that was still like a team. So yeah, because then that I like that, but I mean it has its flaws. But I'll 3.5. Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, where can they find us on Facebook? We're done with the Batman and Robin. Well, I'm never gonna review this movie again. I'll watch it again, but I won't review it. I just watch it in the background. I'm never gonna sit down and just full on watch it.
Well, you guys can find us with internet online in the search bar. You type in Facebook, go on your Facebook, or go on Google, preferably Facebook though, because we need some more likes on that page. You go in there and you type in GeekVerse space podcast and you'll find us. And we got all the Batman retrospects that we've done previous to this.
Star Wars commentary tracks, we specials, got dynamic duos, everything like that. Yeah, so same thing as GeekVerse cast on Twitter for show updates and just regular weekly Goose News. Goose News. That's our next podcast. Goose First. We just talk about like Goosebumps episodes, geese, like anything that has the word goose in it. And then on SoundCloud, GeekVerse Podcast, we got everything like you was talking about their playlist. Same thing on iTunes. Subscribe so you can get specials like this when they drop. Boom, it's right in your phone. And then every Saturday is when we do our GeekVerse episodes. Or every Saturday, that's the flagship show. That one will always be out on a Saturday. And SoundCloud is where, like he said, you can find every special you want. We got game reviews, movie reviews, retrospective, Star Wars, a lot of Star Wars, and then just weekly geek news if you want. If you're dying to hear us dissect, make fun, or debate some news, we're the place. So everybody have a good one, and make sure you chill for the rest of the week. Yeah, you chill. Breeze.